Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's video. I'm indoors today to avoid the wind. A few weeks ago I spent a wonderful afternoon with the people of Kincton Benefice. We started with a pilgrimage walk followed by a service of evening prayer. The Vicar Sally Welch has been working on these pilgrimage walks for some time. They're very simple, with 4 pauses over the source of the walk for a spiritual reflection. In this case on Psalm 23. It was quite a village event. I had the opportunity over the course of the afternoon for some significant spiritual conversations with those right on the edges of church life, but who were spiritually curious. Most stayed on for evening prayer, and I was told there were more people there than they get at Christmas. I had a similar experience at the Bromyard Folk Festival last weekend. The church was full of visitors for the festival service, and again plenty of people who were curious. We Anglicans have these sorts of relational connections that many of our nonconformist friends would die for. Our problem is often turning the relationships into something deeper. I wonder whether we have been so enculturated in the modernist lie that faith is a private thing that we've lost our confidence in the authenticity of our own experience. We're fearful of being caught out by the curveball question, so we keep silent. However, most people are more content with a don't know answer than an attempt to bluff our way through it. We are people of faith who trust in the face of mystery. There are some questions for which there is no answer, at least one within the grasp of human intellect. The Gospel reading on the day of the pilgrimage walk was Luke chapter 12 from verse 49. This was a cheery number for the end of the day, with many relatively uncommitted people present. Jesus says in verse 51, "Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on there'll be 5 in one family divided against each other, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. At the beginning of my reflection, I acknowledged it was difficult to general murmurs of agreement. Clearly, Jesus isn't advocating violence here. Paul's reflections on citizenship in Romans 12 verse 18 are clear. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. When it comes to evangelism, Peter is similarly helpful in his first letter. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect, keeping a clear conscience. But the sad fact is that not everyone welcomes the invitation to follow Jesus on the way of love. There are people with financial and spiritual interests in the preservation of the status quo. There are people who are so established in destructive and even wicked patterns of behavior that they can't imagine a different way of doing things. In those contexts, the gospel can sound like uncomfortable news as it challenges to repentance and to live differently. People like Martin Luther King, who non-violently resisted the evils of segregation in the deep south of the USA, found a deeply resistant and hostile culture. Ultimately, such resistance cost him his life. Jesus' prophesied division was plain for all to see. To have avoided the conflict for a quiet life would have been a betrayal of the gospel imperative. Some years ago, as a selector at a clergy conference, I interviewed a quite outstanding candidate. In those days, we graded candidates out of 6 on several criteria. I've never graded someone so highly before or since. Now, I don't know where she is now, but I think she will have been an outstanding priest. But her story was one of struggle. From an aggressively atheist family, she'd come to faith at university. For her, fidelity to Christ meant following the call to ordination. Her parents were hostile, to say the least. She's torn between parental loyalty and the call of God. I'm glad obedience won through, but that was a family divided as a result. Such division is not something Jesus is advocating we seek out, but it may be an inevitable part of our discipleship journey at times. Part of our humanity is that proud interiority that wants God to take a hike. We will know our own resistance to the way of love. It's no surprise that we encounter it in others too.